Hi, I'm excited to show you how to start using SMS sequences. So SMS sequences are used when you want to send text messages where you're expecting them to respond with something. So a good example of this would be like a text to opt-in where you're expecting them to opt in with an email address and then give you a name or other information like that. Or if you have a conditional SMS sequence in mind where you want to be able to text someone right before an appointment that is scheduled, maybe the day before, and confirm that appointment. Ask them, hey, we have an appointment scheduled with you tomorrow at 1. Is this still a good time for you? And they can easily text back and say yes or no and do different things based on that. So that's what SMS sequences is for. And before we actually set up one of these on the fly right here live with you, I want to show you a simple little campaign in ActiveCampaign where you can kind of see how this would apply to your actual campaigns and how does plus this fit in with all of that. So that way when we actually get into plus this, you're going to be like, okay, yep, I know exactly what I'm kind of creating here and where it's all going to end up living. So let's go to ActiveCampaign really quickly. I've created a really quick SMS text to opt-in campaign. It took me like 2 minutes. Essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a tag applied to start this campaign, and that's going to actually be applied when someone texts my name to my phone number in plus this. So they're going to text it in, they're going to put in an email address, and that's going to apply a tag. And then that is going to then trigger an email to be sent out. And then we're going to follow up with them in the text message. Right after they enter in their email address, we're going to ask for their name. And then lastly, we're going to ask whether they're a business owner or the marketer, because those are usually the two demographics we see, and maybe we want to do different follow-up based on those roles that they might play. So that's all we're doing here. They can put in their information, and plus this can apply a tag based on that. And then ActiveCampaign will filter them, so the remaining follow-up they get is based on which role they actually are. So that is it, and we can set this up now with plus this to trigger all the SMS portion of this, which is really, really cool. So I'm back here in plus this, and here is what it'll look like when you've connected your Twilio account for the first time. You're ready to go and just start creating SMS messages whenever you're ready for that. So this is really cool and easy to set up. We're going to have this option selected as a default. And typically the way that you can trigger text messages is you can either have them enter a keyword that will establish right here, or you can just put a webhook into ActiveCampaign to trigger it too. So in this example, we're going to do like a traditional text opt-in, so we'll use the keyword version. But if you want to see how a webhook works, you can watch the video on the send SMS, and we show you an example of that version too. So giving you a little bit of variety here. Anyway, on to the setup of this. So it's already pulling in my phone number, which looks good. If I have more than one phone number, I can click here and see any of them and pick the one I want it sent from. And then we also can select where we want to store the requester's mobile number. So when they text in this keyword, we're going to store that phone number in an actual phone field. So that looks good. Here's where we put in our keyword. In this example, I'm going to use my name, so it's really easy for me to go, oh, you want some more information? I made it really easy. All you have to do is text Bryce to my number, 850, blah, blah, blah. And they can start getting my information, my follow-up, all that kind of stuff. So that's what we'll do for that. And then the best practice here is we usually want to ask someone for their email address. And this way we can find out if there already exists as a contact in ActiveCampaign for you. We don't create duplicates that way. We can update existing accounts, or we can create new ones if they're not existing there. So really cool little best practice. And so we'll give you even a little script here that you can use. You're free to change it, but for this purpose it looks good to me. We're going to store their response in the email field, which makes sense for them. If they're answering this question, they're going to give us an email, so that looks good. And then we're going to do one other little thing here to trigger the actual campaign with a text message. So the way we'll do that is we'll click on this equal contains here. We'll say, hey, if they actually send anything with that @ symbol, it's pretty likely that response was their email address. So we're going to say, yep, if they have that, let's apply a tag, and we'll do the start SMS optin. I'm just making up a tag here. And the important thing to just keep in mind is whatever we put for this should be the tag you use to trigger this campaign if you're building this example of one. So just coming back to this, that is all you have to do for that. So now we're going to set up our next message. Here we're going to ask for their name. So let's say request name. And I'm putting in the names for these. This is just for your own organization purposes. It also makes it nice because we can jump using this sequence map back and forth to any of our messages and kind of create them and edit them at any time real easily. So we'll say, thank you. What's your first name? All right, and then we are asking for a name, so let's store that in the first name field. Sounds good to me. If I wanted to get fancy, we could include multimedia, so we can put in GIFs, we can put in any images, things like that too, if you wanted to. But we're just going to keep this pretty simple here, and we're going to trigger the next text message to go out as soon as they've entered that. So it looks good to me. And this will be our final example SMS that we'll do for this video here, and this is going to do the segmenting for us. So we're going to ask them if they're a business owner or if they are a marketer. Since in this example that's what it makes sense, but it could be whatever you want for any example that you're doing too. So we can say thanks. Want to show off one thing here. We can use merge fields because they just gave us their name. Let's personalize this a little bit and say thanks Bryce, or whoever it is. Which of these roles best describes you? Now we can say a business owner or B marketer. We're gonna pretend in this world like those are really the only two that we see. Obviously there could be lots of different roles. And then what we're going to demonstrate with this is how to do some of the cool conditional stuff with the send SMS sequence. So we're going to select that as the option because what this means is we want to do different things based on if they respond back with business owner or if they respond back with marketer, and not just send a generic text message no matter what they end up responding with. So we're going to set up our conditions for those. So we're doing the equals one again, and this will be, let's say they do the A response, which was for business owner. Business owner. Boom. All right, cool. So you'll see, hey, why are you putting those in asterisks? The reason why I'm doing that is it's a catch-all. It helps us catch their responses. So if they reply back with a wordy thing like, I'm a business owner and I own this catering business and we do X, X, and Y, and it's like, cool, like we just need the business owner for this to keep working, portion of that text, and it'll make sure that keeps working. So that's why we do that. Here is where we can apply the tag to see, hey, this is a business owner. So let's go ahead and make one. Oh, there's already one there. Perfect. All right, so we'll tag them as business owner. And this will be helpful, just kind of jumping back and forth to show you the context here. After we send their delivery email, we can set up something in ActiveCampaign to go, hey, if the tag exists for business owner, then we want to send them the business owner follow-up. In this situation, there's only two, so if it doesn't exist, we're going to assume they're the marketers, but you can trigger different things based on tags too. So I just want to show that too. That's why we're doing it this way. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to say, hey, what text message do we want to send to people when they show us that they're a business owner? I don't have that built yet, so we can click on this little plus symbol here and we can do our business owner response. Owner response. And we can say thanks. Again, we can use the merge fields. We'll say first name. We work with lots of business owners. Look for your guide in your inbox shortly. You could probably write something way better than this, but this is just a simple example for this demo here. And that is all we need to do. So we're just going to say finish it there, right? And then I'm just going to come back here because we didn't do the one for the marketer yet. So let's add a condition for that. Again, we're going to do equals, and so this was option B, and this was also for marketer. We're going to put those in here, and then we can have a tag applied for marketer, and then we can have a message. So I can create a new one for the marketer guy too if we wanted to. So we can just do marketer response. And I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this, so we'll just say la 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 la. But you get the point. Send them the marketer response. And this will be the end of that one too. So the only other thing we just want to do before we close this out is we need a fallback message. So if they reply back and they go, I'm a clown, never mind, I'm none of those things, then we can catch those people in this process and not have everything break down or mess up for this thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to click here. Since we haven't created our fallback message, let's do that now. Call it fallback message, and we'll say sorry, we didn't catch that. So this message only goes out if they respond back with something that doesn't fit one of those conditions we sent. So we'll repeat the question. We'll say which, and then dot dot dot, rest of the question, right? And then sometimes I also like to say something like, if you were trying to reach us, you can contact me at, and I can give them an email, or I can give them a phone number, whatever it might be, right? And that's also the end of a sequence here. And now I'm just going to do a quick little review. I think we are all good. So we've done our two conditions. We have our fallback message here. That's everything you need. So let's give it a name. We'll do SMS Sequences Demo. Click Save. And here is what will trigger this text message to go out. So in this example, we're going to trigger it most of the time with just giving people this little instruction here, text Bryce to this number, and that will trigger this campaign to start and deliver the email with the information that they're requesting. If you prefer the other route, we have a little webhook URL. You can watch our video on the send SMS messages, and that shows how to trigger it using a tool URL. But if you want just a quick little example, the way that works is when you have a trigger here, you can do like a webhook instead if you wanted to, or you can trigger it as part of a sequence after they get in here. Let's see, it's under the conditions of workflow, sorry. You pick a webhook. So they're in this campaign. Let's pretend we're going to do an abbreviated version of that. We already know their email because they're already in ActiveCampaign. We're just going to send out an email that might say, hey, we're just trying to clean up our list and find out some more information on our users. We'd love to get your feedback. We'll send a simple text if you're happy to help us. And so they say, see that email, and they're like, sure, I'm happy to help. I click that button to say, yep, send me a text. And so that's what could trigger one of these. You just put this in your campaign for that, and then plus this gives you that tool to trigger this actual text message. So you can use this to trigger it too. So you paste it in there, boom. Now you're triggering it using your webhooks. So anyway, those are the two different ways you can trigger the text messages. And I hope that this simple little SMS text to opt-in is an example that you can follow so you can create your own SMS sequences in the future. If you have any questions or you have a specific use case or scenario you want to run by us, please reach out to us at help@plusthis.com, and we'll be more than happy to answer your questions or show you an example of how you can set up the way that you need to in your business.